Patty's here with me.
Say that again, Michael.
Patty is here with me.
Oh, good. Okay, so you guys are both on the same. Good, good, good. Okay, thank you all for jumping on. Thank you, listeyy, for coming on and filling in more gaps as we have all had time to go out and talk in the marketplaces about you know listeyy a little bit. And when you all are presenting, it makes so much sense to everyone, right? But then when you get out there in the real world and you start talking, all these questions come up, and we need to make sure that we're answering appropriately. And we also want to see the new updates that you have done just to make things more compliant. Also, Christy, do you have anything else that you want to add to that sort of introduction?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Cynthia was gone, and then I started getting calls, and then I started texting Jackie, but just various things. And then Jackie and I were literally on the same page the other day, and she called and answered my concern before I even got to ask her. So I think we're all very excited about it, and I think we just need a better understanding of how to present it. And then perhaps I mentioned to Jackie some pointers or just an outline would be great for salesmen after this. Just touch points would be wonderful.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Do you want me to get started? Can I share my screen here?
Yeah. Sarah, will you do that to make Jackie a co-person?
Sure will. Give me 2 seconds. Jackie,
Okay.
I'm going to make you a co-host.
I like my co-person explanation better than co-host.
Co-awesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see if it will let me do that even.
Gosh, why is my computer tripping?
What, Michael?
My computer's having a hard time today. Nothing new. It's every other day.
Okay, well, hopefully today's the good day.
Okay, here we go. Is that coming through?
Yes, it is.
So this is the little document I put together. It has some bullet points for after this meeting, so you can see basically how it works and what we added an extra little step to. And the bottom of it is really what you guys are looking for, which is this going to be compliant with the settlement? So 3 reasons. Yes, we have a couple of rules. Compensation cannot be in the MLS. However, you can put a message in there that says information is provided by some other thing, whether it's a website or texting, and instruct agents on how to go get commission information. However, that compensation must be 2 clicks away from the MLS. And while we can debate whether text or clicks or not, we just added an extra step. So they have to send the message, they get back a marketing response with instruction to reply with COMP for compensation. They reply with COMP, then they get their compensation. So now they have had to initiate 2 different texts, which are 2 clicks away from the MLS. So that's that second extra step, but keeps us compliant and make sure everybody feels good about using the platform. And then the other one is commissions can't be displayed at an aggregate site where you have multiple brokers, listings, and commissions. And I think sometimes when people hear about a way to share commission information, they think you mean sharing, between brokers out to everybody on one site. And it still is a one-to-one communication. You're only seeing your own compensation information. You're only seeing compensation information from a listing you specifically request. You can't go on there and see everybody who's put a listing into listing and what they were offering, because that would not be, compliant. So just to give you that, and then I'm going to walk you through real quick what our new flow is. So
Jackie, real quick, is everybody with Jackie with the previous screen? Are there any questions there?
Does that mean it can go on the MLS then? Since they're doing 2 clicks, the QR code can go on the MLS or not?
So the QR code won't really have a use case in the MLS. That will be where we have our marketing message. That says basically right here, I'll make this a little bit bigger. Additional information for this listing is provided by listeyy. Text whatever your unique code is to the number for immediate response. And we really want to emphasize the immediate response part, because I think that will get buyers agents to do it. You just hit the copy button, go back into the private remarks, hit the paste button, and you're compliant. And then everybody has a way to get that information.
And sorry for Jackie for stopping your flow, but I just know that, you know, we're not realtors. So some of the stuff that you're saying doesn't make complete sense. So we're just trying to get a full understanding of this so that we can properly, you know, talk about it.
Yeah, no problem.
So,
And actually I'll just go into,
And I have a quick question, Jackie.
yeah.
So yeah, that was the biggest concern, was the the 2-click rule. And I see that you're making the changes, but I'm just curious. I know that now it is compliant, but let's just say that there was some compliance issues. Would that fall still on the agent, or would that go back to listeyy?
Yeah, so if you hover over the response message, Jackie, the little eye balloon there. Yeah, you gotta hover over it. So you can see in big capital letters, we put, do not put commission information in this field, right? And we're actually, we're gonna pull this out of the eye balloon and make it an actual label on the field itself so that you see it, you have to see it every time. Right. And so that will eliminate, well, I didn't know, right, that I couldn't do that in this field or whatever. And so then if you hover over the compensation message, it tells you that you can't put the number in this field, and that is what it's for, right? And so we're going to make both of those more prevalent, but ultimately, like, we can't control behavior, right? And so if somebody does something they're not supposed to do, then they're liable for doing something they're not supposed to do, right? And so we are going to your point, like, we do need to make that really, really clear to people. And so we have a design for that will probably go out this weekend that will improve that even more.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Good work.
Yep. So here is where, you know, this is what one of the listings would look like when an agent puts it in. They'd put the MLS number, the address, and then they can create their own text code. And we give a couple of examples of what you would want to do depending on, you know, how long the address is, or some people might just want to use their name and then followed by a number. And then your response message, and that would be anything that is allowed to be shared one click away from the MLS. And I think a couple of things that agents could put there would be things that maybe somebody might not read in the MLS, or you want them to have that information kind of top of mind. So like this one, the requirement for showings, the fact that there's no HOA and that it is on a producing well. I think that's just information the agent, we want them to have top of mind. And then the compensation message is what the seller is offering. The other thing that has come up is because there are 2 compensation forms that a buyer's agent could use. They could use the compensation agreement between brokers form, or they could use the seller compensation addendum. Now, I have a feeling the CAB form will be getting kind of retired out sooner rather than later, and we will all be moving to the seller compensation. But in the meantime, agents are going to probably be kind of particular based on what their agent is saying or what their listing agreement says as far as what form they want. Because if your, you know, seller hasn't committed to paying compensation, you don't send over a buyer broker agreement that you as the listing agent are agreeing to pay them. You want that on the seller compensation addendum. It's part of the contract. So I think especially as we have various forms floating around, various brokers doing what they want to do with it, that's a really good place for agents to put an instruction of what they're looking for. Because we don't want deals to fall apart because, like, you sent this form and we want this form. And I mean, we're already adding negotiating buy-side commissions into the contract. Now we don't need to be arguing over what form to use. So I think that's another thing we're going to suggest people put in that document is what forms do you want compensation on in the contract?
Hey, Jackie, this is Keith Mady. I had a quick question. Going back to the text code, does the text code have to be specific to the property?
Not right now, no, it doesn't. So it can be anything that's not already taken, right? And so you might, like, we had somebody yesterday that just put in the number for the address, right? Like 3220. And that was their text code they wanted to use. So it can be whatever the agent chooses. I mean, we're giving some examples of like putting address, but you could put, you know, spacious 3-bedroom, right? Whatever they want to put in there that's not already taken, it will be valid. Pretty soon, we're going to start introducing archiving. So once you sell the property, then you archive the thing, and then that code will become available again.
So what I'm getting at is you cannot use the same text code for multiple properties.
Correct.
Got it.
They are property specific, but they don't have to relate to like the address or the MLS number. You can pick what you want for it.
Okay, thank
You,
you.
with you guys, oh, go ahead. Whoever was gonna ask something.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with agents including the information regarding the cab or the seller addendum form or whatever form that is, do you think it'll just be like is it gonna be really easy, like a check mark? What do you think it's gonna look like in the future?
So one thing that's nice about this is you can put links in here. So a lot of the MLSs have links to the specific forms they want you to use.
Oh, okay.
Put the link in there, right? Like, and say, hey, use form and include a link to it, and then the agent can get it directly from their phone or from their email.
Okay.
Or you could just write in there, like I could say, please send cab with offer. And that could be what goes out. So that way people can just give that instruction, because I do think it will be an additional ask of how you want to have that done.
Okay.
So currently I think they should just put it in there in the compensation information so it comes back. We have 480 character limit. We can say all we want about it. And we do have the suggestion too, if your seller is not offering compensation, but they have said in writing that they're open to it, write that, right? Anything to get the properties, keep it on the buyer's radar and get it sold. So that's our new ad, is we have that second step where we have the original kind of response message and then an instruction to respond back and then get the compensation. So stays compliant. And then when you save that, it gives you, this is what we were talking about. You just copy this, hit copy, and then go paste it right in the MLS private remarks. That way people know, how to get that information. And then when they do get it, here's basically what it looks like. So you've got texting the code, getting back the info, reply comp for compensation, and then getting back the compensation details. So it's still automated. It still happens, immediately. It just has to have that extra step in there.
Yeah, this allows the origination of the request to be to listeyy, right? There's no tie to the MLS at all, right? You're asking the agent through listeyy for the compensation information. There's no tie to the MLS at that point.
A quick question on the comp and sub. Can you do comp and sub in the same text, or does it have to be two separate texts?
It does have to be separate. And you can also, we're not publicizing this right now, but if you actually text comp and the code, the code, like 679 Moon Valley, you text comp 679 Moon Valley, that's a way to get the comp, faster, because you just did one step. But again, it doesn't matter if it's two steps, because it originated with us. It had nothing to do with the MLS.
Okay.
And you can do the same thing for sub. If either one of them, comp or sub, will reply back with the last listing or the last text code you used. But if you text sub 679 Moon Valley or comp 679 Moon Valley, it will return you that information or that subscription for that listing.
Okay.
All right. What other questions or, pushback or feedback have you guys had if you've told any agents about it? Because that's really what we need to know, so we can do these kind of things like jump in and change the flow of it to keep it compliant. Anything else that you've heard feedback wise?
Well, I had a goofy question, and I don't know. I don't think it would come up much, but it came up yesterday, and I didn't know how to address it. And two things. One, the agent said, how do you know the listing agent has permission to do this from the seller? That was question number one. Question number two was, how do you know that this is a legitimate listing agent that has been authorized by the seller to sell their home. And I didn't know how to answer either one of those.
Yeah, so for the second one, we do collect license number and licensing state. And then what we're doing right now is essentially once a month, my engineer and I download it. And then we basically make sure that like we don't have any fake accounts in there. You can usually tell us by looking at the listing number. We also do have a checkbox at the beginning when you create an account that says, I am agreeing by using this platform that I am only allowed to put my own contracted listings in the platform. So every agent agrees to that when they sign up for an account. And so we will also spot check that. We'll go spot check and make sure that it's actually their listing.
Got it. Okay.
Well, and the other thing I would say about that is, as a buyer's agent, you're going to be getting that text code and the instruction to text that message from the MLS. So the person who put the MLS listing in, who has access to it, it's just as valid as the fact that they put the square footage, the 4 bedrooms, and the price, because they are the listing agent who put it in the MLS. You're not going to like go to listeyy.com and find the property. You're really only even knowing to text that and request this information because you got that out of the MLS listing in the private remarks.
And outside of the barrier of the first listing, right? You get the first listing and a kind of a 14-day trial for free. Everybody else has to pay. I probably wouldn't pay for things that are not my own listing, right? Like it would be a little silly for me. So there is a barrier there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
My question is regarding the second click, which would be the compensation part. There is no, I'm unfamiliar, so I just want to ask this. There's no rule saying click here for compensation. It like I'm just making sure that the rule is that we can't, like, you have the second click, I understand that, but it says compensation here, or type in compensation or comp for compensation. That's not a violation. Like, you can actually say to get more information, that's where compensation is.
Yes.
Am I making, okay, it's
You
kind of
can
hard
talk
to
about
explain
commission.
it, but okay.
Yeah, it's not a dirty,
not-
Michael, it's not a dirty word. And at that point, it's 1-to-1, right?
Yes.
That's the deal.
Correct. Essentially, the buyer or the agent at that point is asking the listing agent for the compensation information. There's no MLS. They're texting back to the listing agent comp. The listing agent has just set that up to be automated.
Got it.
So a lot of companies, what I'm hearing is they will put a URL in the private remarks, which you're allowed to do, but you can't go to that URL and immediately see compensation information for that listing or any of their listings. But that could lead to a landing page where then you click on an individual listing and then it gives you that compensation information. But you can click on a landing page that's titled click here for compensation, but you just have to make that second click.
Got it.
Hey,
And then
Jack,
go ahead.
I'm going to ask a dumb question. So does the private remarks field in the MLS actually allow hyperlinks? Like if you put a link in there, will it be clickable? And yeah, so think of
It's
it.
the MLS.
Yeah, even if you put a link in there, somebody can't have to go type in the link, right? And then
They would have to copy and paste it into their.
copy and paste the link over and then go to another thing. Like what we're hoping for here is
Easy.
that you add Lissy as a contact in your contacts, and then you don't have to like do that, like text 1855. You just have Lissy, you bring up Lissy, you go 323 Quartz Rock. It's just faster and more efficient.
Okay, so that right there is such a great tip. I hadn't thought of that. It's just add Listy to your contacts.
Because it's going to be the same number you text every time.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to put that in right now. Beth, you had some pushback. Do you want to share some of that? Are you on?
Yes, yep, sorry, I had to unmute myself. Well, I had one client, there was like 3 or 4 of them in the group when I was talking to them. And I just think they had an attitude that they feel like they're taking away their negotiation ability for the sellers by saying what the percentage is. And then actually, I think I mentioned it to Keith, and Keith just said, well, they can use it and just put commissions negotiable or whatever, you know, but they had some odd, I don't even know if it's valid, their concerns. I did have another big client I talked to today, and they have something else worked out for their whole company, that they're doing a website with a 2-click away website, and they're going to have all the company's listings on there and stuff like that. So then they said the agents are going to they can use QR codes to that website. So that's how they're handling it. That's one of the big statewide companies, or valley-wide. And then I had other agent, I maybe it's just me and the way I'm saying it, but I had someone else was like, why should I pay to make it easier for the agent? You know, the other agent, they can, you know, look up things and call and blah, blah, blah. Like, why should I be the one that has to be responsible for showing it to them?
Where is that agent going to look things up? It's making the listing
Yeah.
Well,
agent's
that's
life
what I
more
said, because
easier.
this is the same agent who doesn't want the phone calls, you know, so.
I'm thinking that
And they're,
agent's
you
not
know,
our client, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. So I have not had a lot of luck so far. I've only talked to a few people. I did have somebody and they were scanning the QR code. It worked for me, but for them, it kept saying that the listing was expired.
Oh, interesting.
But when I scanned it next to them, it worked fine for me. But when they scanned it, it said listing was expired. So I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, I mean, if you see anything like that, you know, send it over. We have a
That just
support-
happened like before I hopped on. So
Yeah, support@listeyy.com. It goes directly to me. So I usually respond within an hour or so.
okay.
He was just responding to something right when we hopped on.
I was, yeah, and it was similar to what Michael was asking about earlier. I don't think we've made the information in the iBalloons really like prominent, so I think people are missing the explanatory text that we're giving them. So that's why we need to make that a lot more obvious as we move forward. Both of our initial support requests have been around people just like being like, okay, I see the field. And a lot of people think that with those little eye balloons, you click on it, and if you click on it, it doesn't do anything. It's actually a hover state. So you got to hover over it and leave your mouse there for a second. So it's a little wonky. So we're going to fix that.
But
Yeah, I think especially initially where everybody is in just such this fear space, they don't want to do anything wrong.
Yeah,
So
totally.
making it so obvious initially, and then, you know, as we move on, we can tweak things, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
So, quick
And I will
question
say-
too,
Honestly,
Jackie.
Go ahead, Beth.
I was just
Jackie-
going to say,
oh.
I'm glad we're having this because I didn't know all these steps. I don't know how to show them this. I just have the postcards with the QR codes that takes them to the sample. So I'm glad we're having this so I can actually explain it with a little more in-depth knowledge. So thank you.
Well, and one response on the agents, and there is definitely a kind of movement towards just don't offer anything to the buy side, let them ask, right? Because if they signed a buyer broker for a lower amount, you know, essentially are going to be gifting the buyer that difference. That's has nothing to do with our app or how we're structuring it. Even with that, if your seller is not willing to commit to compensation, but they are willing to put in writing that they're open to it and basically authorize you to say that, you're still going to get all the calls. And I'm going to be honest, as a listing agent, I would rather somebody auto text them and say, we're not doing compensation than me have to be on the phone and be like, oh, sorry, you don't get paid from us. Hope you work something. You know what I mean? Like, I actually think that would be a better use case than
I
getting the
agree.
agents
I
calling
agree.
and giving you an attitude about how you didn't, you know,
Yeah.
secure compensation for them.
If you
So-
don't want the phone calls, tell them that you're not offering compensation on this listing.
Yep.
Or that they're welcome to submit a seller compensation addendum or whatever. But the one thing I like about this is it stays consistent. So you've said the same thing to everybody who's inquired about it versus the phone calls. And especially even if you have 3 listings and one's offering one amount, one's offering another, one's not offering any, you don't want to mess that up.
Good
You know,
point.
you
So
don't
guys,
wanna
that's
commit
a
yourself to
huge
that.
selling. That's a
That's
huge
what
selling thing. So everybody write that down. It helps you stay consistent within your communication for each listing.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I agree. You have 20 listings. You're not going to remember which one who's offering, who isn't, and all that, then you say something wrong and then you have issues. and all
Right.
That's what I was, that the person who gave me the most pushback, that's what I was saying, you have a lot of listings. This is a tool, to
Right.
help protect you. But I think
Right.
everybody, at least some of the people are a little nervous again.
And I think you guys have noticed that we've made some updates, like as of now, everybody gets one listing for free and they get to try out the premium features for 14 days. So if you get a lot of pushback and you say like, hey, try it out, like, see if you like it, right? Like you can do it yourself. If you don't copy that message into the MLS, no one knows about it. You can try it yourself and see if you like it yourself, right? And by the way, that first listing, it's on us. You get to keep it forever, right? So if you find use of value in it in the future, great. If not, if you think it's not for you, then that's fine too. But you can try it out. There's no cost to you. It takes 90 seconds to set up a listing. And see if you think it's valuable.
So when you talk about premium listing for 14 days, can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we changed some things around. So if somebody buys an individual listing, your code still works, so you still get $5 off of that. But the way that it works now is Jackie, go back to the main page. Just click on listing. So essentially the premium feature is what you see on the right in the actions column. So with anybody that has like the subscription feature, they have the ability to send additional marketing blasts. So to their subscribers, anybody who's subscribed to this listing, like Jackie has one subscriber here, but she has one that has like 6 or 7. Say you're expecting to get an offer. And these people are people that are definitely interested in your listing, but for whatever reason, they weren't ready to make an offer yet, right? But maybe at a lower price, they would. So you can put in there like, hey, offer deadline is now Monday, etc. Or you're doing an open house, right? Or you've got a new price, or you're offering additional incentives, or now your seller has stopped being difficult and now they are willing to offer a buy side commission, right? And so you can blast that out to people who are definitely interested in your listing, but for whatever reason, haven't made the move yet.
I have
And
a,
this is a feature that gets more valuable as more people use it and get comfortable with the idea of
Yes,
subscribing.
totally.
Exactly.
Because you're not going to get, I mean, unless the listing agent goes in and like sends a blast out every single day, which then people will just unsubscribe from their listing. Like, it's not like when you sign up to get 10% off of a purchase and you're like, join our text thing, and then they're texting you like twice a day about some special. Like, you're not signed up for our text. You're only getting like basically a marketing update on the one property that you subscribe to, or each of the properties that you subscribe to.
So this premium listing for service, is it a different price point than the regular product, or is it?
Yeah, it's $10 a month. So you can
For
have
unlimited listings.
unlimited listings and unlimited blasts. So you can use it. So you think of it this way. The initial like use case and problem we were solving is around like kind of consistent phone calls about listings, about the same information over and over again, and kind of the compensation problem. At this point, you're using it more as a marketing tool, right? You're using it to communicate about your listings. So, and then you can have unlimited listings and all the other stuff too. So,
But there's also a separate charge per listing for.
no,
the-
it's just
No.
$10 a month,
It's
and
only
you get
10
everything.
bucks unlimited.
Yep.
That's a
Or is it a
no-brainer.
separate
If you're a
charge
listing
for-
agent, that's a
Okay.
no-brainer.
Yeah, we're trying to keep everything priced in a way that's like understanding that most agents, maybe they sell 4 to 6 houses a year. They don't want to be, nickel and dimed all the way through that. Like for $120 a year, you can market all your listings.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. Yeah. That's good. I thought it was per listing, so.
Yeah. So we still have the per listing option.
Well, it
too.
is, yeah.
If you only have one listing and you don't plan on selling anything else, then like, just buy the one listing for $15 and then you don't even have to commit to a subscription.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or subscribe and then cancel when your listing sells.
Yeah, cancel in a month.
Jackie, Richard, when do you guys when are you guys going to make the response and the compensation message more prominent for the agents to see when they're filling in the information?
Yeah,
He
my
said he was
designer is
working on it.
working on it right now, so it'll probably be pushed this weekend is what I anticipate, but I'll let you guys know if that timeline changes. We are like literally working on it right now.
Awesome.
What's the level of commitment for the premium subscription? Do you need to commit for 12 months?
No, you can go month to month, $10 a month.
Okay.
So Richard and Jackie, we got a question about, is there a flyer with the steps that they can give to agents? So if we can just get those outlined, we could even create a flyer.
Yeah.
When you say steps, what do you mean? I just want to confirm that, like steps to sign up?
Well, steps to sign up and then just steps on how it's gonna flow.
Got it. Okay.
Jackie has this in her
Yeah.
presentation.
We also have help documentation that walks through every like step by step how you do everything. We're literally publishing that right now, so it'll go out in the next day or two. And then the other thing that we're doing, I don't know if my team will be able to pull this off this weekend or not, but what we've been working on is, so as you put in the information about the listing, to the right, there'll be like a, you know, phone image, and it'll show you like, oh, text code. So it'll show, once you fill out that field, it'll show somebody texting you the code. Then you put in the response message, and it'll show somebody getting the response message. Then they type in comp, then it'll show them what they get for the comp message. So it'll be like more of a walkthrough so people understand how it's working.
So it's like a live demo as they're doing it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I put this together just to give you an idea of like the steps of how to do it, putting your listing in, getting your code, and then what happens afterwards. And then it has the information about being compliant with the settlement. Is that what you're looking for to use to create something?
It is, Jackie.
Okay.
I have this. Is that, Beth, what you were looking for?
Yeah, I don't have
Okay.
anything like this, so I don't really know what to say once I show them the sample. I can't explain to them how it works or anything.
So I have this. Jackie sent it to me last night. I reviewed it today, and I will get this out to the entire team just so you have, more talking points and you can get, some more understanding around it.
Awesome, thank you.
We also had a question, and maybe you can address this to the whole group. Jackie, when I was at Mastermind, I was talking to someone who is Canadian, and they asked, does listeyy work in Canada? And then today I got a question, does listeyy work in Tucson? Would you like to address that, Jackie?
Yes. So it does work everywhere in the US. It actually would also work in Canada. It is a toll-free number, so they could text it from anywhere. However, when you sign up, it does ask for your state and your license number. So I think if we were getting users in Canada, we would probably have to change that to country, province kind of thing.
There's also different rules in terms of what you're allowed to do for opt-in and opt-out in Canada. So we're not saying that we're supporting Canada just yet.
Yeah.
But all over the US, everywhere that's covered by the NAR settlement, we absolutely have a really big demographic of people who are now have this new challenge of the additional communication on top of changing how we've done business for however long in all these new forms.
I have a question, more of a concern that I ran into at the beginning when I just showed one of the agents. So I noticed that when you're on the listeyy app or website, it's kind of hard to use. Is that being worked on too to make it a little bit easier? Because it works really great on a computer, but like I just pulled it up on my cell phone. It is still kind of hard to use.
Yeah, that's on our radar. Like we anticipate to do some mobile responsiveness redesign work to the site. We anticipate that the vast majority of people are likely to be on their computer because like the MLS sucks at being responsive. So when you're adding a listing, 99% of the time that's going to be on your laptop or on your desktop. So our message back is once you create the listing, just pop over the listing and create it in the same kind of thing. It's going to take you an extra couple of minutes. But we do plan to get some mobile responsiveness down as well. My designer likes to put everything like off center, which is throwing off the responsiveness. She likes the way that looks. And it looks cool, but like it really hammers the mobile responsiveness. So
for sure.
Stay tuned for that. Yeah, it is a little wonky on mobile devices, but
you know what, Richard, to that point, I feel like this is how I'm picturing myself as an agent. I'm entering in my listing, and then I've got listeyy up as well, and I'm copying my stuff from listeyy, putting it into the MLS, vice versa. And then from there, it's just kind of a text platform. But in terms of where Michael's going, I think he wants to show people when he's sitting with them one-on-one, and that's typically from the phone.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So yeah, we do have some work to do there. And so
Do you,
we'll stay tuned with
do you,
that.
do you see it going into an app for sure?
And probably not an app, probably just still a mobile responsive web.
Just a website? Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I was
So,
just curious. Yeah.
we don't anticipate a lot of agents would like to download an app from us, and then you got to go to the app store and do all of that. But
Yeah.
we'll get feedback. We've got the site instrumented well with Google Analytics right now, so we can tell what browser and what operating system people are on. Right now, we're not getting any real mobile traffic. It's all kind of desktop traffic.
Okay. Sweet.
But if you are doing a demo, desktop is definitely going to give you a better
It will be
experience on that.
wonky on the phone. It works on an
Yeah.
iPad. I tested on my iPad, but phone does get a little wonky.
So, one other question, let's say I'm a buyer's agent. I'm not in the MLS. I don't have my computer and I'm driving around and I see the sign writer and I see the QR code. I scan the QR code. Will the QR code grab the private remarks from the MLS, or is it grabbing the fields from listeyy?
Yeah, it's just the response message. So what all the QR code does is it pre-fills the phone number and the text code. So then the person that scans it still has to hit send. But once they hit send, they'll get back all the response messages that's been created in listeyy.
Just like you would see it if you're on your computer. Okay.
Yeah, and one more thing in the response message, it's a really good place to maybe note any title company preferences too.
I like
Love
that.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that, Jackie. Of course, I looked for it when I was reviewing this last night. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really kind of a repeat of what you have in the private remarks in MLS right now, just to give us that additional step so that we stay compliant.
And bottom line, people don't have to use this just for compensation.
No.
I mean, it's a communication platform. That's what I love about it.
Yeah,
and I think we're all thinking we're pitching it because the commission piece, but it's communication.
Yeah, I can tell you how many times I've heard Jackie answer the same question on the same listing over and over and over again, and it's we could have probably went on several vacations if we added that time up.
Yeah, it's a transparency.
Yeah, and I think there was a question from Beth about like, how do you know that the seller has given permission for this to
I was the
there?
one that asked that question.
Yeah, that was Keith.
Oh, okay, yeah. And ultimately it's the same as giving permission to put a sign up, put it in the MLS, all of that. It's just a way for the agent to convey the information. It's on the agent to make sure they have authorization to say there's compensation or to say the things that they're putting in there. Just like you would if you put something in the MLS.
I mean, it's no different than if a buyer or a buyer agent called the listing agent. How do you know they're authorized to communicate that information over the phone, right? Like, it's no different. It's the same challenge. Ideally you've authorized them. When it comes to like checking, we do grab the license number and then we do spot check to make sure that the listings are truly that agent's listings.
So, okay, random question, and you may have already covered this. I just want to get my eyeballs on it. So in listeyy, are you able to see how many subscribers
You
have with each listing? Oh, there we are.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
On this one, we have 5
Oh.
subscribers and 20 people have inquired about it.
Wait, I love that.
I'm one of those fake subscribers, by the way.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well, you're gonna know when I drop the price, so you'll
You know
see
what?
in
That's
action.
great. I'm gonna take a picture of this. I think this is a great visual.
Yeah, and one thing that obviously hints at is like, hey, if you have a lot of inquiries and no subscribers, is like, hey, they don't like the details that you're telling them about the listings. You're not offering compensation, or there's no buyer incentives, there's no tie to like something that's compelling to them, and they're not subscribing for a reason.
Yeah, I also
Hey-
just think it's interesting data, right? Like I have a showing today on this property on Acapulco who nobody has inquired about it, but I do have a confirmed showing. So they are confirming it without knowing that information.
Hmm.
It's just data. I just, just to see, and maybe I will hear from them or maybe they'll inquire before they have their showing.
This is landmark cat. I gotta rock the landmark cat.
Michael, are you asking a question or are you just talking?
Oh no, I'm talking. Do you guys want to see my new landmark hat? Hold on. Check it
Oh.
out.
Oh, do the work. I love it.
I like
All
it.
right. What other questions, team?
I love it.
Okay, so one thing, Jackie, and I think this is a great opportunity for people's questions to be asked. Be ready to fire hose people, Jackie and Richard. You all are on Marketing Matters coming up, right?
21st.
What date? The 21st. So mark your calendars for that because we could do a big push for Marketing Matters on the 21st for listeyy. That's where we can send people for all their questions, concerns, or whatever, and they can get, direct from listeyy their questions answered. So we need to do a big push for Marketing Matters then. And then of course we always, just so you guys know, we always record that and send it out to databases afterwards. So let's do a big push. That's our big platform to share from the horse's mouth what this is all about.
Right.
Any questions
Yeah.
about Marketing Matters or anything?
I'm excited it'll be on Marketing Matters. That'll help a lot. So
Yeah. So mark your calendars and please, I'm just going to make a special, I'm going to make a special request from everybody on the 21st. Please make it a point to be on Marketing Matters. I know that sometimes Sarah's on there on her own. We overbook and stuff, but for this one, since we all are out there promoting, listing, please be on Marketing Matters because your people will be on. Hopefully they'll be on. So let's do a big push to get people on. And Sarah, I'm sure that we don't even have a flyer on that yet because we've got a couple of Marketing Matters prior to that, right?
Correct, but I can easily put a flyer together and get it out to everybody. I think that's a great one to start promoting in advance.
Yeah, I think so. Typically we don't do that, but I think with this one, Sarah, if you could just put it on your to-do list to get that going. And I will send out Jackie's document that she shared with us today so that maybe you can help pull some more information from there for the Marketing Matters flyer. I'll send that out today. And Jackie and Richard, we will share that with you prior to us. Michael, will you put yourself on mute? I will.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'll share that with you so that you can give us your thumbs up before we start marketing that.
Yeah, and two quick things from our side. Like if you guys do a demo or you talk to somebody about it and you get feedback, whether it's good or bad, send it our way because we can help, Richard at listeyy.com or Jackie at listeyy.com or both. Like we've already actioned on some feedback, right? And so that's critical to us, making sure that we have something valuable that we're giving you guys to go out with. The second thing I would say is if it's valuable, and I was already thinking this and Jackie texted it to me. If you use your landmark email and sign up for listeyy yourself and just put Arizona and some number in for your licensing state, what we'll do is we'll flag the landmark emails so that we don't erase those accounts because they're not proper license numbers. We'll just flag the landmark ones and say, hey, these guys are working with us, and you guys can use the product and demo it yourselves from your desktop. That way you don't run into all the problems.
That's great. Everybody heard that and
Yeah, I
got
was
that?
just
That's
going to
huge.
ask that because I just tried to sign up and I didn't have a license number, so I just have to put numbers.
They're not
in.
checking it.
Yeah.
You just put
Okay.
in a funny little number.
Yeah, it's not
So-
validated, but we
Yeah.
would normally delete accounts that don't have legitimate looking license numbers. So instead, if it's your, I'll just tell my engineer like, hey, if it has a landmark title email, don't delete it.
I used a personal email, by the way. So if you guys want to flag it, it's Michael
I
Crabia.
have you already in there. So
Okay, okay,
because
perfect.
I knew the name, so I didn't get rid of that
The
one.
police are coming
know-
to your house, Michael, in about 20 minutes.
I didn't want to put Landmark in jeopardy of me making a fake license number. I figured you'd understand though.
Yep, we got you. There's one other one. If any of you are Jack Johnson, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Jack Johnson, you're out of
That's
here.
funny.
Jack Johnson.
I'll see if it's
What a
if
treat.
it's someone on my side, but I doubt it.
Could be AZ.
Yeah, right. I'm
Mhm.
about to talk to him about this though, by the way. So if I
That's
get the
good.
green light, yeah.
And honestly, like somebody like that, like another broker who maybe has some additional concerns about bringing it out to their team because they didn't want to have their agents doing something that could jeopardize them. Feel free, have them call us. Like we're happy
Yeah.
to have a conversation too. And obviously I've met AZ before. We both have sat on like 30 under 30 panels, and I know he's really innovative and likes to kind of think outside the box. So I do think it would be a really good fit for him. But if he has questions or concerns, we're also happy to hear it and kind of work together to make him comfortable.
Yeah,
Jackie,
we're
what's
yeah,
your phone
his-
number again?
His biggest concern was the second step. So we flagged that, and that's why I wasn't pushing the listeyy platform. But now that it looks good, like I'm sure we'll be good to go. What were you saying, Richard?
Yeah, we're small at this point, so like don't hesitate to reach out to us if you get feedback or pushback or like you don't know how to answer a question. Like, you know, we work pretty quickly. So
Okay.
you know, I mean, it's really Jackie and I, and you know, I have a couple of people that I've worked with in the past. So like at this point, we don't have the volume where we're like overwhelmed or anything. So don't be afraid to ping us. We're early days. Look, the best problem we can have is we get overwhelmed with feedback and requests for things that people want to do, right? And then we know we have to scale up. At this point, though, like don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Sounds good.
Can you just say your contact numbers over the
Yep.
It's
website here?
do the email the support@listeyy.com, Keith.
Okay.
That goes directly to Richard.
And then if you need to get us on like a quick call, my cell phone is 602-717-4844.
And I'm 602-525-5917.
Great, thanks.
But Jackie is now the face of the company, so try her first.
Okay.
Turns out she has a better face than me.
Those two faces are pretty good together.
Great. Anything
What
else?
Anything else? Any other questions?
Thank you guys for your time.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
guys.
Thank you, Listy.
Had the most questions. Do you feel like you're good? Rabia?
Yeah, we're good until I show AZ, then we'll go from there. But
Well, you know what, Michael, and remember Jackie's offer, what she just said. She knows him. They've said on the same things. And so that might hold a lot of weight with him. So, and let him know that she offered that. So,
yeah,
I have
Oh,
a
and
question.
by the way, did we know who was Angelica? Like whose referral?
It
that
was
was
Keith's.
that was Keith.
All
Shout
right.
out to Keith.
We have one of these with your name on it for being the first person to get somebody.
Okay, great.
dang it,
Thank you.
I tried.
I do have a question since I have you guys here live, either Richard or Jackie, because when I tried to sign up before and then when I had to enter my license, I just canceled it and deleted it. And now I just tried again and it's not sending me the verification code. Do I get flagged maybe because I tried and
There's
I
a
bet
time-
you it's in Barracuda.
It's 15 minutes timeout. So if you try it again in 15,
Okay.
I think it should work. But if
Okay.
not, yeah, email me and we'll fix it.
Thank you. No, I'm sure that's why I just didn't know. And I'm like, hey, I'm not getting.
Yeah, it won't, just for that reason, it won't send a code again for another 15 minutes after you originally request one.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks for your
Yep.
time. This helped me a lot. So I really
Good.
appreciate it.
Good. And then as we go throughout the week and we're promoting this and talking about this, because I think this is all just very hot right now, please just be jotting down your concerns and questions as you go. And then maybe, you know, we can do a joint thing again, you know, but if it's a hot thing, reach out directly. But if it's just little tweaks here and there, just be jotting down, you know, I've got a listing folder now, so I'll be jotting things down as I go and do the same. I think that might be a good approach. Richard, Jackie, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
guys.
you guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank you.
weekend.
You too.
It was good.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Good one.